do some more brushing. Because we could brush two things. We could brush the mic, or we could brush the camera. I know some people will layer it. They'll layer it so it's like you have the sound of the brushing. You have this sound, this brushing sound, as the mic brushes the camera. This sound right here, this sound that's going on right here when you're brushing the camera right here. Right there. It's an advanced move. It's an advanced move to do that. When you can layer it like that, using editing movie magic. Movie magic to make it seem like this sound right here, this sound is happening at the same time as doing this. This sound that's happening on the mic is a nice sound. The sound that's happening here is no sound. Mic sound. Camera sound. I guess you could have two brushes. You could have two brushes at the same time and you could make it happen. I'm good, Toon Squad. How are you? How are you doing? It's cool. I like seeing the little gems behind the people, the VIPs. The people who get to go behind the velvet curtains. It's very fun. I don't know what benefits that affords you, but it's fun to look at and be like, oh, yo, yeah, you're special for sure. Yeah, you got the gems, you got the power. How are you doing, Toon Squad? You're relaxed. Are you relaxing? Where are you on your journey? Your journey to Nighttime Town, Nighty Night City, as they call it. I don't know, I feel like it is a journey sometimes. A lot of the time I have like a routine that I go through. I have like a routine of things that I'll do where I don't always like start the routine early enough, but if I don't do the routine, I can't go to bed. Quite literally sometimes, because there are things that I need to do before I go to sleep. Like, brushing your teeth. Make sure you brush those teeth, right? But I also have a thing where it's like, oh, I've got to go and I've got to make coffee because we have iced coffee in the morning. So you want to go and you want to refrigerate it. So it's like, okay, brushing the teeth, making the iced coffee, doing the skincare. I know I'm a guy, but I do skincare because you're worth it. You can do skincare if you're a guy. Don't let anybody tell you can. Because you should. You probably should be doing skincare of some kind. Even if it's just moisturizing your face. But gotta do that. Gotta do all these things together. And so it's like if you don't start on that journey, you can't end that journey. Yeah, I mean it tends to be a big barrier where I'm like, ugh, I've got to start doing all this shit. Really? It's pretty annoying sometimes. I don't know. I'm trying to think about what else. Oh, right. I have to make sure that I take the brain medicine that I take. The brain medicine, and if it's late, then the melatonin too. Because that's always a thing too. It's like, if you don't take it at the same time, your brain won't remember if you took it or not, and that's not good because you have to remember. I don't have one of those pill sorters. I should have one of those, but if you like, whenever I'm waking up, I'll take the thing to wake up. When I'm going to bed, I'll take the one to go to bed before I get into bed. So it's part of the routine, right? It's part of the routine that you have before you go to bed. See this checklist that you go. I have this checklist of things that I have to do. And you have to check everything off. Go check. Did I do this yet? sometimes it's too much. Sometimes you just like, you just want to be like, fuck it, I'm not doing any of this shit. But some of that stuff you gotta do. Some of that stuff you gotta do because you gotta have your brain medicine. You don't have your brain medicine, the brain goes bad. Goes poo brain. You don't want poo brain. That is if you take any medicine. If you don't take any medicine, got yourself lucky. Because sometimes it's a pain in the ass. Especially if it's suppository. Little medical humor there. So, I think that going to bed is a journey. It's a journey that you have to go on. And I think having the relaxation as part of it is also pretty key. It's pretty key. And I don't, I think everybody's different. If they do any kind of relaxation, if they do meditation, if they do ASMR to relax, whatever people do to relax. Sometimes people read a book. Sometimes people read. And where that fits in, I feel like is different for people too. Some people do it before they start on all that other stuff. Some people do it while they're in bed. Some people are like, no. This in bed is for sleeping, only for sleeping. If I do anything else in bed, I am a criminal. You lock me up. I'm not that strict. I'll do all kinds of things in bed. I'll do like, listening to stuff on your phone and the headphones in. Right, I find that to be relaxing. When you're just in bed, you got your headphones on, listening to perhaps ASMR, even. It can help you when you're on the end of your journey of relaxation. Or sometimes before I'm going to bed, you can do something relaxing. So you're like while you're still at the computer, you can do something, and that is relaxing. So it tricks your mind into being like, okay, now it's time to start all that other shit. Okay, let's go. And I'm not sure which one's better. I don't know. Maybe both is good. Maybe both. I don't know if you have any strategies that you use. Can let me know. I'm not always so great at this either. Hello, Dylan Fisher 91. How are you, Dylan Fisher 91? I'm doing fine. I was just talking about my nighttime routine, my nighttime fun. We all like to have nighttime fun. I don't know. Do other people, do you people, you people, do you folks, do you find people in the chat think about your nighttime routine? Is that something that you like carry in your head and you do consciously, or is it something that just kind of happens to you? You just kind of like go through the motions and you're like, I don't know, now I'm in bed. I don't know what happened, now I'm in bed. Because for me, it's always something that's like constantly on my mind, and I never know if that's an autism thing. I never know. It's like, oh, is it because my brain likes to order things and do like a specific pattern and schedule and keep to that? Is it because of that I have a nighttime schedule, or is that everybody? I don't know. Like, I definitely used to be very specific about things, like where it's like when you get home from school, you gotta do this and you've got to do that, and it's got to be in the right order. Otherwise, it's no good. It's no good, and I'll get mad. I won't get mad. I never have been a mad kind of person, but I will cry. Oh, don't test me. I will cry. I'll cry like a motherfucker. Yeah. Drop of a hat. Because let's say I was a little bit unmedicated as a child. Crying was very easy when you do not have depression medication. Maybe a little bit more than you should, maybe a little bit more. But nighttime routine or you won't cry. I mean, both are different, I guess. Different. You put a crying emoji. That's why I thought maybe you were talking about the crying. I think actually before I was on my current medication that I'm on, I did literally cry every single day because my depression was getting pretty bad. Oh, you won't cry? Is like ever? You won't ever cry? Do you not get sad, or is it like you'll get sad but not cry? Because I think, like, I mean, I still cry now. You know, I'll have a cry all the time. You know, but every single day, I was talking with like psychiatrist, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you don't want to be crying every day. That's not normal. Crying sometimes is good, but you want to moderate your quantity of crying." So now I think I'm at a pretty happy crying medium where it's only sometimes that I'll cry, not every single day. But if you're not crying at all, that's also interesting. It's also interesting, something it's worth bringing up. Hello, Sam. We're talking about crying. Do you cry a lot, Sam? Actually, wait, Sam, you said that you are autistic, so this is a good question for you. I was also talking about... Oh, okay. Well, I think... okay, so let me finish the question for Sam, and then I'll address what you said, Andromeda. Sam, my question for you is if you have a nighttime routine, because I was talking about how I have a nighttime routine, a schedule that I stick to, little, like, actions that I do in specific order, and I have to do them in that order. And I was going to ask if you do that too, because I was wondering if that was an autism thing. Thank you very much for following KidShiny14. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you. And for Andromeda, I think that it is terrible that you got your heart broken. But I do think it is good that it's good to cry when you were feeling sad, because that actually is a catharsis, right? It's a catharsis where you got those feelings out, you know? And so I think that's actually a really good thing. Are you like, did you stop crying after that? Did you like cry for a little while at everything and then you stopped completely? Or was it like now you just cry less than usual? The bed thing, I was talking about that with my partner, that you can't sleep in beds that are not your own. We were talking about like hotels and motel beds. A lot of people say that hotel beds are comfortable, and I think maybe they are, but for me, I've never been able to sleep well in a hotel room because it's not the bed that I'm used to, and sleeping in it feels like I'm sleeping on just a pile of bricks, no matter how comfortable it is. I have to imagine that is certainly an autism thing, because my partner was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? I love sleeping in hotel beds. They're very comfortable." So that's probably one of those things. You know, that's you know, for autism. That's always a part of it. It's like you always second guess which things are related to autism and which things are just people, because nobody gives you a manual for that stuff. And so it's interesting when I talk to other people who are autistic, because sometimes you can like connect, and you'll be like, "Do you have this really specific thing?" "Oh, you do? Okay, then that's probably one of the things. That's probably an autism thing." So I always light up anytime I see that. I'm like, "Oh, wait, that's me too." You know. So I think that's pretty interesting. Yeah. Structure is important. Like, my stepdad, he, my mom and my stepdad got married when I was like 2 or 3, about the time that I was diagnosed with autism. And he had told me this memory that he had. He told me this memory that he had of me as a little kid, playing on a mat. I was playing on a mat with trains, like little toy trains on a mat. It was one of those mats that has like the railroad on it. It's a very cool mat. We had that for a while. It has like little railways on it that go around and they go around, and you can like move a train around on it. And he said, what he told me is that when he was just getting to know me, he wanted to play with me on this train mat, right? And he touched a train that he was not supposed to touch, and I got so mad. I was like, that is not the train you touch. This is the train you can touch. You can't touch this train. You touch that train. And it was so funny because obviously it's like it's not important, right? But yeah, it's that was just such a funny memory that always stuck with him, because he was like, oh, I'm like a father figure here. I'm trying to be a father figure, and and that just totally like that shook him. It shook him. I was a little child, and I shook him completely by getting mad over a train. To the point that he remembered it and told me about it 30 years later. Wow. Because it was like recently that he told me about that. He was like, finally, now I feel like it's okay. We can divulge this information. I know. That's why I keep turning because I read the chat on the monitor. Usually I'll have, like, the camera's in a different place than usual because it's behind this. Usually it's behind the green screen, but because I wanted to do visual triggers, I wanted the full range of motion. So we're not using the green screen. And I thought it would be classier if I put it in front of these blinds here. But usually my monitor's right below the camera, so it's not as obvious. But now I have a little monitor over here that I'm looking at. So I'm looking over here, and that's where I read the chat. So that's why I'll look away. It's not because I don't like you. I love all of you. I love all of you. Oh, hello. I'm the Hellboy. It's me. I have 2. But one of them is an iPad. So I have a screen. I have this computer screen, which is at my desk, and I have on a little arm. I got like this nice, like a little like arm that will, like, you can adjust it and point an iPad around because I don't have a second monitor. And so I read the chat on my iPad because it's pretty close, because I don't have to read way far away. Yeah, having the one monitor life is difficult because I can't afford a second monitor, because I was like, listen, I could buy a second monitor or I could buy a good graphics card, and I don't have enough space on my desk for a second monitor, so why don't we just make this an easy decision? So that's what I did. So, but that's what I did, actually. So I did not duct tape my phone to the wall. I have a little arm. I have a little arm that I can adjust, so it's better than having a duct tape to the wall. Because I have like a program that will show me the chat on like an iPad that I have, an iPad mini that's like very old. I have like a 7-year-old original iPad mini or whatever, and it just says what the chat is, and that's very nice. Who needs a second monitor? Who needs it? It's crazy the amount of stuff you need, when you're doing a stream, because you wanna be able to have everything around. Oh yeah, there's a big boomer iPad. Actually, my parents are boomers because I'm of the generation where millennial, so my parents are boomers because that's how it works out. And my aunt is also in the same generation, and she has literally like the biggest, chunkiest iPad with the biggest, chunkiest like cover on top of it, and like it's like filled with 500 apps, and I look at it and it freaks me out. Yeah, your parents parents are boomers too. Yeah. It's the boomer generation of parenting, right? Like they're here. I don't know when Gen X is going to be the primary parents, but I assume that'll happen at some point. Maybe they're still raising their kids. Oh, okay, so Sam Shopla says that he can't stand new people, adults. I'm okay with new people. The thing is for me is that if I meet a new person, that it takes a lot out of me. It takes a lot of my energy. It saps me of my energy. Like, I'll be, like, if you think about it, like in some sort of game term, it's like, I'll use all of my energy points for the day meeting a new person. I'll be like, I got through that, but fuck, you know. But if it's someone who like really is gets my ire up, then that's it. Then I'm not going. Hello, Elma Pochin. How are you today? So glad you could join, Elma Pochin. I don't know why. I just like saying your name. It's just very nice. It has a nice rhythm to it, Elma Pochin. I'm doing well. We're actually having a pretty fun conversation. I'm worried that I've stopped doing enough ASMR. So if anyone is like, hey, give me the tingles, like just let me know and I will do more. Grisoli, hello, how are you? How are you? I'm doing some extra to make up for that I was just talking too much. I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. I was just saying how meeting new people in person can be very draining for me. But I find that meeting all of you here and talking with you when you show up, it has kind of the opposite effect. It fills me with a lot of energy. And I don't know if part of it's because it's just text, because that's very different for me. For me, when I see text, it's way different than seeing a human being, for a number of reasons. But I think a lot of that, it really fills up my heart, and it makes me feel good. It brightens my day when I see people coming in and chatting with me here. And I think maybe it is because it's like when I see people in person, a lot of it is like there's so many things you have to do. There's so many different like avenues that you have to worry about. You have to worry about eye contact. You have to worry about eye contact, and it's like, okay, make sure you're looking at them, but not too much. No, look at them, no, but not too much. Don't be creepy, but like make sure you're looking at them. And it's like you have to make sure that like you're smiling. You're like, you know, and a lot of that is that learned behavior. You know, that ABA, that stuff where it's like you have to like put on these airs of being a normal human being. That at least maybe in this room, in this ASMR environment, I feel like it's fine because it's like I'm over here and I'm doing like finger motions, so it's like any semblance of me being a normal person is kind of gone out the window, so you don't even have to worry about that, right? You know, it's just like, I don't make eye contact with who? With the camera. Well, yeah, I tried to make eye contact with the camera because sometimes that helps when you have like a direct eye contact, but sometimes I'll forget that too. But that's not so bad. Not so bad. Do like one of these. Pulling the rope. I'm Mr. Mime pulling the rope towards me. No, I'm Mr. Mime with the. You know, I saw that one thing that people like is when you put like objects. You put objects that people have to focus up, like really in front of the camera. So I have one right here. His name is Charizard. Hello. Charizard. It's actually a figurine that I've had since childhood. It's a childhood figurine that my parents sent me like a couple years ago. They said, "Do you remember when you had this little Charizard that you had? You love this little Charizard." And I'm just so happy that he survived all these years. You know, this like little tiny figurine, plastic. He has like really nice details on it. He's beautiful. He's my beautiful boy Charizard. He's got that flame tail. Look at this flame. It's like an eternal lump, just a little like ice cream cone of a fire flame. It's like Charizard. So there you go. If anyone has the close-up object trigger, if you've had that bingo card, of that gives you a tinkle, then there you go. Hey, cool. A couple people joined the Discord, and I was like, that's actually pretty cool to me. Like to have a place to chat. I'm not so good at logging on to things, but I do try at least like once or twice a day to log on and check and chat with people if they are chatting. I don't know. Are you good at communication, J-Rod, or do you have trouble with that? Do you struggle with communication? Or are you good with it? At least like correspondence, like keeping up with people. That's something I always have trouble with that. I'm always like, did I totally forget about this person to respond to this person for 15 years? Oh, yes, I did. And it'll be like, oops. I remember, like, even like family members, my mom was like, "Hey, your aunt texted you. Did you text your aunt back?" And I would be like, "Yeah, I did. I texted her back." And then apparently my aunt narked me out and was like, "Well, I didn't get any response from him." And so then my mom was like, "Well, she said she didn't get any response from you." And then it's like, damn, called out, because I don't know. I thought I did, but apparently I didn't. What a narc. No, aunt, I'm not gonna go to Thanksgiving. There's a pandemic. What are you thinking? What are you thinking of? Come on. Ugh. I would not be surprised if there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of anxiety about Christmas. You know, I know not everybody celebrates Christmas, but I always get a lot of anxiety about Christmas when that approaches. It's a big source of discomfort for me, is being like, oh, we've got to plan everything. We've got to like get presents for people. We've got to like arrange for like meetings and stuff like that, and especially this year because of like the pandemic. Yes, yeah, exactly. Like my partner, their parents always demand that we come over for Christmas, and we don't like to do it anyway. We don't like to do it normally under any like normal circumstances, but especially this year, we're gonna have to be like, no, we're not going. There's a pandemic. We can't go down to Irvine, California, and drive down there and like be with like children, like they have children, and like, no, we're not gonna go there. No way. But you know, like that just adds to it, you know, and especially like I have, growing up, a divorced family. So I've had a dad family and a mom family. So it's always been a push and a pull between that. So even growing up, a ton of anxiety around Christmas. So, you know, if you have anxiety for Christmas, you are not alone by any stretch of the imagination. You know, I think it makes it worse because Christmas is like this time. It's this time when people are like, it's such a wonderful time. It's a magical time of the year. Everyone has a great time. And so it can feel really bad to be like, I have bad feelings about Christmas. I have negative feelings about Christmas. Am I wrong? Is that bad for me? But like, be so much that gets in the way of that it's like a big pain in the ass. And it's just like, I'd just rather not have Christmas, please. That would be probably preferable to just skip out on the whole thing. That's always how I feel. That's always me. And I mean, like my partner is the same way. We're like, this year we haven't even put up our tree yet because we're like, no, don't say it's Christmas. Don't say it's Christmas yet. No. And it's like literally like 2 weeks before Christmas. But yeah, I hope everybody out there is able to skip out on their family Christmases, assuming they don't live with their family. Because, hey, I don't know if you've heard, but pandemic's pretty bad here in the United States, at least. I've heard it's not great in the UK either. Maybe if you're in New Zealand, you can go to Christmas. You know, that's the one country that's allowed to do things. Because they did a good job. They did a very good job with their... Oh, it's really bad in your state, yeah. Well, like, I'm California, and I think they officially ordered a second lockdown, because there was like 15% ICU bed availability. So it's like they were gonna run out of hospital space because so many people have it. And that's really bad. It's been so long. Come on. Like, get it under control, folks. Ugh. Like, ugh. It's enough to make you never want to leave the house, which is a good thing. For right now, anyway. You shouldn't be leaving the house as much as possible. Yeah, the Californian governor, he got caught eating out in public. And listen, if you're gonna get caught eating out, that's not the way to do it. Sex. I think our governor has been handling this whole situation just awfully. It's like, my thoughts about the governor before were like, yeah, he seems okay, he seems fine, and then the pandemic happened, and then it was like, oh no, not at all, actually. Actually, he's terrible. I'm glad I learned that about him. You know, it's like how some people you're friends with, some people you know, but then your opinion of them changes, either for better or for worse, whether it's a crisis is involved. Like, maybe you have one friend who's like, maybe not always there for you, maybe they're not great, but like then like a crisis happens and they're really there for you and they really show up, and you're like, that's a good friend forever. Or maybe the opposite happens and they're like, oh, you're in trouble, bye. Then you're like, okay, I know I can't be friends with that person ever again now. And that's kind of how the governor handled this whole situation. A little bit of California news for people. Who doesn't love hearing that California gossip? I have the cleanest mic ever. Unemployment is so high, I think, across the country. Unemployment is at, I heard that it was at the highest levels since the Great Depression, which is crazy because we've already lived, if you are like my age, through a recession. I think probably most people who would be old enough to watch this would have lived through like the Great Recession, as they called it. And this apparently higher. It's worse. if you are unemployed, know that you're not alone. If you were like kicked out of your job because it's like your job didn't care about you, it's like, yeah, we're going through it. It sucks, and it's but like the people who love you are there for you. You know, I'm here for you emotionally. I can't help you out with money. I'm sorry. I wish I could, but I can't. But you know, hey, we're us here who aren't like bosses, who actually care about other people. You know, we're there for each other. You know, we're all going through it. We're all going through this shit. Like, I think that like you don't even hear about how many people are unemployed because people just want to make things seem like they're good, seem like everything's fine. You know, it's like that idea of like blue skying things when it's like everything's going wrong, but you're just saying everything's perfect, everything's great, everything's perfect, everything's great, and it's like you gotta, you know, yeah, you have that. You want to have that hope for the future for sure. You want to have that hope for the future, and you also don't throw away those feelings. You know, you don't just paper over those feelings and say they're not there. You recognize that those feelings are there. You recognize that stress and that pain and that trauma from losing your job or whatever it is. You acknowledge that it's there, and you deal with it, but you don't let it consume you. That's the key. It's such a tightrope. It's a tightrope walk that you have to walk. You know, but it's so important. It's so important. I think the future will get better. I do. I think you're right, J-Rod. You know, they're working on that cure. They're working on that vaccine. That's gonna help. It's gonna help. There's gonna be a lot of damage that's been done, and it's gonna take a lot of work to get everything back where it should be. And it's gonna take a while for things to start seeming like they're normal again, you know. But it will get there. It will get there. And I hope that we as a society come together and like take care of the people who were hurt during this time, you know. Certainly like some people have died and this is terrible, like, but even like a lot of people have died and a lot of people are hurt. And unfortunately we cannot do anything for the people who have died, unfortunately, but we can help the people who have been hurt, either by getting COVID and surviving with complications, or by being hurt by joblessness, or being hurt by social isolation. You know, there's so many ways people have been hurt, and I hope that that we can all come together and we can help those people and not just say, well, sucks to be you, you know. I mean, I don't know about you, but I would never say that about people. I would never say that about people who've been hurt, who are having a bad time, having a rough go. Those are the people who need help the most, and always remember those people. You know, you gotta have love in your heart for those people, because it could be you. It could be you. If it's not you, it could be you. Even if you're hurting, you know, other people are hurting too. So try to be there for each other, and they'll be there for you. That's what I say. And if they're not, then fuck them. That's what I say. Oh wow, basketball player. COVID caused him a heart infection. Damn, and he's a basketball player. You've got to be like in the best health of your life for that, right? To play basketball, for sure. That's scary. Scary stuff. Scary stuff. I mean, you know, that's why we gotta be careful. We all gotta be careful, for sure. Oh, I just realized I stopped doing all the fun mouth sounds that I was doing. I don't know, like an hour ago, when I was getting into the conversations. But at least we've got the whispers. At least we've got the whispers that are going on there. At least relaxing, right? think's gonna happen? Gonna get tummy ache. Gonna get tummy ache. Of course you are. I can't say I haven't been there though. I can't say that I have not done similar food crimes. I've done food crimes in the past. But when you do the food crime, you pay the food time. Sometimes you're just like, what if I ate all of this right now? Ugh, you always pay for it, one way or another. I think, I'm trying to think of the last food crime I did. Sugar cookie flavored Hershey's Kisses. How does that work? Isn't it chocolate? How do you make chocolate taste like a sugar cookie? What have the food scientists done? This is madness. Food scientists have... it's crazy. Crazy things. So, I'm looking at my clock over there. It looks like are we almost at midnight? It looks like, at least California time, PST. Oh, I'm actually not a fan of white chocolate. I think white chocolate is too sweet for me. I have a thing where it's like, I can only tolerate a certain amount of sweetness before I'm like, oh, I'm out. And dark chocolate is okay. Peanut butter chocolate is my favorite. And white chocolate crosses the line for me. It's too much. I can't handle the sugar. Oh. But I guess it's a good thing. Maybe for health. I don't know. But other than that, I'm down with chocolate. I'm down with chocolate other than the white. I used to not be into dark chocolate, but as I've gotten older, the bitterness, like, you start to appreciate the bitterness, I feel like, more and more. I don't know if it's like across the board, but at least for me, like, the bitterness, like, I'm all about things that are bitter now. And maybe it's why I like coffee so much, because it's like you get that real bitter flavor. Maybe it's because I'm bitter. Maybe I'm too bitter about the world, so I like the bitter flavors. Oh, creme is good. Yeah, dark chocolate's very good. Man, all the sweets talk is making me. It's activating the sweet part of your pleasure domes. It's like, now I'm thinking like, oh, do we have any sweet stuff? But I ate a donut today, so I should have been filled up on my sweetness for today, but I'll just remember the donut. It's my favorite movie is Remember the Donut. It's a very emotional, inspirational sports movie about donut making, professional donut making. I'm glad you like it, J-Rod. This is a brush that I bought specially for brushing this mic. I bought this at the Walgreens because I was like, this looks like it would be very good because of the bristles. The bristles are very wide. The bristles are very soft and wide. So I think it provides a nice, soothing sound when it's on the mic. So I'm glad I was correct because that's the only reason I bought this. Wet and Wild. It's Wet and Wild. Woo, we're having a good time now. Talk about tingles gone wild. Oh, baby. J-Rod. If you are going to sleep, I might put the stream to bed as well. Because it is about 12 o'clock here. Been going for about 4 hours. I think that's probably a pretty good place to call it. And if you have been put in a relaxed state where you're considering sleep, I will consider this job well done. Well, thank you, Pedro, for following. Yeah, it's always good seeing you too, J-Rod. Thank you for coming. I genuinely enjoy chatting. Hello, Pedro. How are you doing? Have you just come in, or have you been watching for a while? Alright, J-Rod, good night. Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night.